is the first Monday after a week of SEC football, and you are locked and loaded onto the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. This is In My Own Words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Very excited to have each and every last one of you tuning in to the network channel, brand, and show today to start your work week off correctly. We got a lot to get into, a lot to dive into, a lot to discuss and talk about. As always, bringing you the show from Tuscaloosa, streaming this to you on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, give a thumbs up, drop a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, and turn on all of those notifications just so you can have the best in news, notes, alerts, and coverage on your Crimson Tide. Not only are we hitting you through YouTube, we're also streaming this to you through Facebook, to all my Facebook people out there, coming to you guys as well, and also Twitter, streaming to Twitter also. So we got you covered here, people. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Definitely excited to be with you guys on today. As always, it's a joy to have the man, the myth, the legend, the maestro in the production studio, John Ivory, doing his thing. And while it was good, it's great to see tonight Monday Night Football between the Ravens and the Chiefs, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. Over the weekend, we saw the big men play. We saw the SEC, and whether it was Georgia getting a struggle victory over Arkansas, Texas A&M struggling to get that win over Vanderbilt, Tennessee getting the win over South Carolina, Ole Miss getting whacked by Florida, or even, LSU, the defending national champions, going down to Mississippi State. Mike Leach, KJ Costello, and that air raid, high-paced offense, the game that everybody had its eyes on was Alabama's matchup against Missouri. Crimson Tide getting the 38-19 win. A lot of good things happen in the matchup, and we'll get to that. There are some things that the Tide still needs to clean up, but for those of you who watched the matchup and went back to watch the matchup, if you are an Alabama football fan, you left that game or you turned away from that game on your TV screen very excited about what you saw there for the Crimson Tide. But we want to hear from you today. We want your energy. We want your enthusiasm. We want your phone calls. We want you lighting us up also in the YouTube chat line. And you can do this by calling 205-448-1358, the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Definitely want to hear from you guys. But we start the first topic of conversation with this right here. I was going to do my game ball segment first. Was really feeling that game ball segment. Was going to recognize my MVPs from the Missouri matchup first. But I'm going to start with this first due to after church on Sunday. Great sermon on Sunday. I mean, it wasn't the pastor talking about Moses parting the Red Sea or nothing like that, but great sermon on Sunday. Really felt the spirit. My sister sung a fantastic song. Was really enjoying myself in church on Sunday. So leave service and I go outside to check my phone, check my Twitter, see what's going on with the world, and I check my Twitter, and lo and behold, there were so many people in the name of Alabama football. There were so many people in support of Crimson Tide football ripping Bryce Young on Twitter. I had so many, close friends calling me going, Steven, are you seeing what's going on social media? Why are people bashing Bryce Young like this? It was statements like, I thought he was a stud. I thought he was the real deal. I thought Alabama had the wonder kid at quarterback. He didn't look all that special. He didn't look all that great. He didn't look all that dominant. He didn't look like no stud. He looked lost out there. Man, I thought this was the future. Man, I thought the future looked bright and promising. He was supposed to be on the same level as Tua. What's going on with Bryce? He don't look special out there. People, calm down. Calm down. This was the young man's first game in the SEC on the road against a Missouri team that returned 8 starters on defense, that finished in the top 15 last year nationally in total defense. This was a good team that Bryce Young went up against, and it was his first time out there. I mean, newsflash, people, a lot of people don't get their driver's license on the first try. Newsflash, people. People don't make a 30 on the ACT on the first try. And then when you think about that, they don't make a 30 on the second time taking the ACT either. It takes some time getting that score right on that standardized test. Some folks just don't do standardized tests. Newsflash, people don't ride the bicycle correctly on the first try. You got to be patient with these things. And this is why I've always said this. You never want to hype up or overly hype up a quarterback, because if they don't perform the way you feel like they should, here is what happens. And you never want to be the guy that immediately follows a legend, right? You want to be the guy that follows the guy that stunk up the bed behind the legend. That's what you want to do. I mean, LSU fans are in Tiger Stadium right now cussing from A to Z. Why? Because they felt like Miles Brennan was going to pick up exactly where Joe Burrow left off. Miles Brennan is not Joe Burrow. People felt like, okay, with what Tua Tagovailoa did, Bryce Young is going to go out there and just immediately pick up where Tua left off. It's not the case. Tua Tagovailoa is different. He was different. And the first way of why Tua was different, people don't understand how important it is to have those preseason reps in spring ball. Those are vital. Those are important. Those are necessary. And Coach Saban talked about that. Yes, a lot of the older guys like Mac Jones and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, those guys might not necessarily need a spring because they've been playing together 2 and 3 and 4 years. The continuity is right there. The chemistry is right there. The connection is right there. With Bryce Young, no spring. He missed out on, the fourth quarter program. He missed out on 15 practices, 30, workout sessions, a bunch of film study things. All of those things are important in terms of getting the team bonding, getting the team chemistry, getting the team balance, getting those reps that you need to be a quarterback. Those are important. When you look at Tua Tagovailoa, Tua was out there, 2017, helping Alabama prepare for the national championship game against Clemson. He had a full fourth quarter program. He had a full spring practice. He had a full off-season summer program. Then he had a full fall camp. There's a reason why Tua snapped the way he did his freshman year. He got all the opportunities to do so. Bryce Young was not granted with those. So the young man has to play catch up. And when you have to play catch up, these types of things, they happen. But he went out there on the field. He was not terrible. Went 5 of 8 passing for 54 yards. He had good throws, a good throw to Jalen Waddle, a good throw to Devontae Smith. How about his first play where Landon Dickerson, bad snap. Bryce Young, he doesn't eat the play up. He doesn't take the sack. He picks the ball up off the ground. He flips it out there to Devontae Smith, trying to make something out of nothing. But no one talks about that. And then Bryce Young has the moments where he pulls the ball down, shows off the athleticism, the running ability, even picked up a first down with his legs. But no one talks about that. It's Steven, where was the stud? Where's the All-American? Where's the 5-star? He didn't play like one. He didn't look like one. He's supposed to be way better than Tua. Where was that Bryce Young? That Bryce Young will come in time. You got to be patient with the young man. It will come in time. He went out there. He had some good plays. He had some good throws. You saw the athleticism. And he was out there, people, with the second and third team offensive line. Just like with Bryce, those second and third team guys on the offensive line, they need continuity. They need chemistry. They need time on the field together. They are playing on the fly and learning on the fly, much like Bryce is. This is why spring football is important. People don't get that. You need spring. You need the time to get that first glimpse of the playbook, then work on that first glimpse of the playbook, then work on building that connection with teammates, then work on building that connection with the coaching staff. Spring football is important. And because Bryce Young did not have that, you saw a guy that was a freshman on the field in his first game against a top 15 defense returning to college football that had 8 starters on it. A lot of those guys on the defensive front. Give the young man some time. I didn't see anybody talking about the great play he made, flipping the ball out to Devontae Smith, making something out of nothing. I didn't see nobody talk about the throws he had to Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith where the ball jumped out his hand and got to those guys in time. I didn't see nobody talk about the athleticism he showed. All people said, but he wasn't the stud, though. He was supposed to be a stud. He was supposed to be out there setting the world on fire. I feel like we were spoiled by Tua. We were spoiled by Tua Tagovailoa. And every quarterback that comes behind Tua, either they're got to be on his level or better than him. And when they don't hit directly on those two areas, then you get the people that groan, moan, gripe, and complain. And we saw that over the weekend. Bryce Young is going to be fine. Bryce Young is going to be good here. This is what happens when you don't have spring football. The young man is playing catch-up. People, cool your jets. Keep your pants on. Everything is going to be fine with him. The very same thing when it comes to Trey Sanders. People are like, what's going on with Trey? Supposed to be a 5-star. He didn't snap against Mizzou. What happened with Trey? Trey Sanders, this is his first game in an Alabama uniform. He's coming off a foot injury that he suffered in August camp last year and didn't play at all last year. So it was first game jitters for him. Then on top of that, same thing. He's out there with the second and third string offensive line that was struggling to block for him. With the running back as talented as Trey is, he needs a lane. He needs a hole. He needs a crease. He needs something. And he did not get that with this offensive line unit on the field. And going back to, remember Damian Harris? Damian Harris, 2015, his freshman debut at Alabama, it wasn't all that sexy either. But what did Damian Harris finish his career as? He finished his career number 8 all-time in school history for rushing yards, 3,070. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. So give Trey time also. He is going to be fine. He's back from the injury. First game back, first game actually really playing. He's going to be okay. Offensive line, second and third teamers got to get that continuity. The game itself, there were some good things in the game itself. There was overall good, but there was also some things to clean up, and Coach Saban and the staff and the leadership guys will be cleaning those things up this week in practice. Bama had some penalties. It's got to clean up those penalties, especially the pre-snap false start stuff. Got to clean that up. Bama had some busted coverages, and the secondary going back to the two touchdowns that it allowed late in the fourth quarter. They got to clean that up with that communication on the back end is concerned. And then there were still some moments where the Tide was arm tackling a little bit. Got to consistently break down and make those tackles. But overall, there was a lot of good there in the matchup, but people, calm down. Bryce Young will be fine. We take our first break here on the show, just getting you started here on a Monday. Upon our return, we get to your phone calls, your tweets, your chats, your concerns, your thoughts on Tide football after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
We're back in from the break here, folks, on the hottest show on the streets. So I had to get on my soapbox there in that first segment. I'm calm now. Got me a sip of water. I'm good. We're live here on In My Own Words to start your work week off correctly. Very happy to have each and every last one of you guys tuning in to the show on today. Before we get to the super chats and your phone calls, if you notice the top 5 all-time donator list and the monthly donator list not on screen right now. We'll be getting that updated on Wednesday. That will fully be updated on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, look forward to seeing the top 5 all-time donators and the monthly donators back there on the screen. But getting the super chats here right now before we go to the phone lines. How about DeMarco Brooks, new guy. DeMarco Brooks showing love right now. That $10 via the super chats, helping us out here at TDA. I appreciate that, DeMarco Brooks. Jay Lee back in his bag. Jay Lee, that $20 via the super chats. Appreciate that, Jay Lee. Roll Tide Rise Up, not to be outdone. Roll Tide Rise Up, throwing in that $10 there. And how about C. Powell? C. Powell coming in with that $4.99 via the super chat. So we appreciate all the love there from you, gracious fans. You guys doing a great job supporting us and supporting your football team. But it's on you, Tide Nation. 205-448-1358. And I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And we start the show off with Wayland. Wayland, what's going on, brother?
Well, it's Monday. We back on TDA. The weekend's over. We saw how the games turned out. We got some folks crying. We got some folks celebrating. Got a few surprises. I was just glad to see Evan Neal go off the field there. We got to have Evan Neal on that offensive line, Stephen. As you could see, when he went out, they blowed that side up. They wasn't nobody able to block.
Absolutely. And what was crazy is when Evan initially went down, he grabbed the back of his hamstring, so I knew right then he was cramping up a little bit there. The young man, 6'7", 355 pounds, a monster at right tackle, and Alabama definitely going to need him, especially in the run game as well as pass protection. But when he got up, he initially walked off the field under his own power, so that was really good. I know Nick Saban wanted to keep the training staff behind him, I guess, to make sure he got off the field, but Evan Neal did walk off under his own power. Very little assistance there. Good to see Evan get off the ground.
Yeah, it was good to see him get up. He's a main part of that offensive line, and nobody was able to get through that side when he was blocking the first half before he was out there. So those boys, as we all know, Coach Brian always said, we got a lot to learn, a lot to work on. You have to be sound in the kicking game and special teams, and they'll get it worked out. That's just the way it goes. It was the first game, a crazy year. So Max the man, that's the bottom line. We know that. He's got the composure. He's got the ability to run the offense. Najee Harris running like an animal, Trey Sanders. And Mr. Robinson didn't have quite the offensive line in there to be able to block for them so they could run the ball. That's what Coach Saban said, and they didn't. So those guys will learn. They'll come along. They're going to get it. But we're going to try to do our poem on Monday now with the wins and maybe throw a few other teams in there and a few surprises here and there. So it's Monday. I got to get out of here. A lot of people want to get in here on the queue and talk. I see everybody in the chat, all the cities, towns, states, countries. See all the love. I appreciate everybody out there. TDA does too. Keep it popping. We got a show going on tonight up to 1:30 in the chat. But all right, everybody have a safe Tuesday. We'll be back on Wednesday, the Lord willing. Y'all listen up now. Get your ears ready. We're gonna mix it up a little bit tonight. Here we go. It was Saturday night on ESPN. Everyone in Alabama and the Southeast were tuned in. Well, the Miami Hurricanes are on the roll. Will it be the 1980s again? I don't know. It's the longest rivalry on Saturday in the SEC. It's Georgia versus Auburn. Somebody on the chat tell me who will it be. Uh-oh, wait a minute. LSU got dethroned by Mike Leach and the Dogs with a bone. Ed O, shut the door while you're sitting on the throne. Listen, it was the Mac Jones and Jalen Waddle show. Can anyone stop them? Listen, chat, tell me what that word is. It's 2 letters. It's no. Uh-oh. Najee Harris was running like a running machine behind the nastiest O-line I've seen. Well, a lot of people had big smiles on their face, a lot of work to do. We all knew. Look out, Texas A&M, Alabama's coming for you. I'll see everybody on Wednesday. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye, Stephen.
Appreciate the love there in the poem. They're coming from our own Waylon Colburn, starting us off on Monday. We take another call right now in the queue. You're rocking and rolling on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, this is William Custer.
Hey, William, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. We got the W, man. First, I just want to tell Bama Nation, man. You know, we got spoiled with Tua. Bryce Young gonna be okay. You know, it was his first game, first collegiate game, first SEC game. We're not starting off with no Pac-12 team, no Big Ten team. It's the SEC, and you know he's gonna be all right. The center, man, I felt like the center was snapping the ball high and stuff for him when he got up in there. You know what I mean? The center snap didn't look too good, and you know he's gonna be all right, man.
Landon Dickerson had a bad snap, and Landon knows that. Dickerson being a veteran, he had a bad snap, but what I was impressed by was how Bryce Young handled it. Any other freshman quarterback would have probably took the sack. There was pressure coming off the right side, but Bryce, with the presence of mind, knows, hey, I can try to flip this to Devontae Smith and at least create something. He made a big play right there. He had a couple of good throws in the game. We saw his running ability. So there's some positive things to take from Bryce. You got to let the young man develop.
And all I can say is I feel comfortable enough that if something does happen to Mac Jones, I feel comfortable enough to know Bryce Young can handle the job.
Absolutely, absolutely. But William, man, we appreciate the call, man. You keep listening to us.
Thank you, sir. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. We take another call here on the show as you guys lighten this up. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on? Live on the show, caller. What's going on? We go to the next call right now. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hello. How are you? This is G-Money.
G-Money, what's going on with you?
I'm doing pretty all right. I was the coach of Rutgers starting QB, actually, before he was Rutgers starting QB, but I've been watching the SEC a lot more over the past few years, and it looks like the SEC might be real wide open this season. I mean, we got the Georgia and Auburn game coming up this weekend. I don't know if Georgia's really going to win that, but, you know, Bama, I definitely think probably has the best chance to come out on top even with this shortened season, but the SEC really is wide open. It'll be interesting to see what they get done with Bryce Young and with this offensive line.
Absolutely. The East, the East to me, G-Money, is really wide open. You mentioned Georgia there. Florida looked good. Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts looked really good for Florida's offense.
They're on the come up.
Yeah, Florida looked good. Tennessee getting the win there for Pruitt looked pretty good there. On the Western side of things, I think Alabama takes the Western side of things. LSU's got some stuff to clean up. Mississippi State looked impressive, but it's going to be very interesting to see how that East shakes out. But G-Money, man, we appreciate the call, man. Keep listening to us.
And it'll be interesting to see how this Georgia-Auburn shakes out on Sunday.
Absolutely, man. You have a good one.
You too. Everybody stay safe. God bless you.
Absolutely. We got another call here. We appreciate G-Money there for that call. You guys lighten us up on Monday. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on? Doing good, man. Can't complain here. We lost him right there. We kind of lost him right there. We're going to go to the super chats right now before we take our topic right quick. Got to shout out some people. Well, before we shout out some folks in the super chat here, quick topic right now. So how about Alabama football? After the win over Missouri, the 38-19 win over the Tigers, the coaching staff had 5 players named for weekly awards here. Those 5 players, Mac Jones on the list there at quarterback, Jalen Waddle at wide receiver. Those 2 round out the offense. Defensively, Christian Harris was named, and Christian Harris had a big-time game. Really proud of the way he performed there. Behind Christian Harris, we had Josh Jobe at cornerback, who played well. Even on special teams, DeMarco Hellams was named there by the coaching staff. So those 5 guys, Mac Jones, Jalen Waddle, Christian Harris, Josh Jobe, and DeMarco Hellams, making the 5 players with weekly honors there for the Tide. But before we take our next break here, got some super chats to shout out right now. First and foremost, we got Marcus Davis. Marcus Davis dropping in that $4.99, part of that glorious Blue Wrench gang. Marcus Davis at $4.99 in the super chats there. Kevin Compton, another member of the Blue Wrench gang. Kevin Compton, the $4.99 on the super chats from his end. Willie351, another member of that Blue Wrench gang. I mean, who else? Willie351, $4.99 coming from him. Spencer Redley, he's dropping in that smooth $5 with the super chats. And Gucci Ty, that $5 coming from him as well. Once again, we appreciate all the love, all the support here from you guys, the great fans of Alabama football, supporting us here at TDA. We're going to take a break right now, but upon our return, we sit down with former Alabama wide receiver Josh Pugh, who is now a running backs coach for Pinson Valley High School. We're talking with Pugh about how he failed on the Alabama game right after this.
If you want delicious home-style cooking, sushi, and hibachi, check out Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. At home and you can't get away from the TV because the Crimson Tide is about to score? Don't worry, delivery is also available through Waiter and Crimson To Go. That's Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And make sure you let them know the good folks at Touchdown Alabama sent you. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, hello to everybody out there. We are back in from the break on a Monday, starting your work week off correctly. Hottest show in the streets, #1 ticket for Alabama football news in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And be sure to give a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, and turn on all, yes, all of those notifications, so that way you can have the best in alerts, news, notes, and entertainment on your Crimson Tide. Got another super chat to shout out here. How about the man Jimmy Clay? Jimmy Clay dropping in that smooth $20 there helping us out here at TDA. And we go to the In My Own Words hotline right now. We pick up a good buddy, good guy, good friend of mine, former Alabama wide receiver Josh Pugh, who played from 2015 to 2016. He was also a student assistant with the team 2017 through 2019, a two-time national champion at wide receiver. My man Josh, what's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Doing fantastic, my man. Very, very happy, excited to have you on the show. So, first and foremost, like I mentioned, you played for Coach Saban. You played for this team. You know a lot of guys on this current team right now, both offensively and defensively. What were your initial thoughts after the game against Missouri?
I was actually very, very pleased. Of course, knowing, the insides and outs of the University of Alabama football team, as well as certain individuals on that team. It was great to see certain guys step up. It was also very exciting to see other guys step up as well. So to sum it all up, I was very, very pleased with the show they put on against Missouri this past weekend.
You being an offensive guy, so you have known Mac Jones for quite some time here. Here's a guy that waited his turn, waited behind Jalen and Tua. He came in last year, middle part of the season, did some good things, but over the weekend, started the first game of the season against Missouri. He looked incredible out there on the field. Talk about what you saw from Mac Jones.
Well, the thing about Mac, it's been a pleasure to watch him grow over the years, number one. But number two, him being able to pick out different coverages, different blitzes, different stunts, things of that nature that obviously help, him playing at the quarterback position. It was just great to see him pick up those things and also stay in the pocket and deliver the throws that he delivered during the game. So, of course, the different receivers and running backs as well.
Now, I know Bryce Young did not have the performance that people on social media would have liked for him to have. He did not have spring football, but he did some good things out there on the field. So for him being a freshman, what's going to be the most important thing for him in terms of trying to block out all of the external noise and just focus on growing and playing his style of football?
Well, number one, you've got to have humility. Coach Saban talks about that all the time. But number two, you got to eliminate external factors, social media, people in the stands. Those aren't the people who have to get on that field. But by the same token, he played well as well, in my opinion, to be a true freshman, early enrollee freshman, and step up in a big game like that, the first game of the year. I was pleased with the way he played as well.
Folks, if you're just tuning into the show right now, we got my good man, former Alabama wide receiver Josh Pugh on the line here. Played for the Crimson Tide from 2015 to 16 at receiver. Then was a student assistant from 2017 to 2019, a two-time national champion. Now, Josh, you were a wide receiver. You were a part of the ride-outs. And speaking of those ride-outs, as good as Devontae Smith is, Jalen Waddle is a flat-out dog. This dude put on a show for NFL scouts. When you first saw him, when you got a chance to play with him, at what moment did you see this cat is going to be unbelievable?
Well, it goes all the way back to his first summer. We had our regular summer 7-on-7, and his separation with DBs and high pointing the ball. And a lot of the things that we all get to watch him do now on Saturday nights and evenings and noons are the things that he was doing day one. He's got that ick factor that you can't coach, you can't teach, and he's just got it. He's got it.
Jalen Waddle put on a show there over the weekend, 8 catches for 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a 46-yard catch where he outjumped 2 DBs like a pogo stick and plucked the ball out of the air. What a play there made from one Jalen Waddle. But switching gears here right now, Josh, to the defense. The defense got Dylan Moses back. And that's a huge deal.
Yep.
And that's a big deal, seeing how he played out there on the field. But just looking at the defense as a whole, evaluate in your mind how they played.
They played a really good team defense. And what I mean by that, more than one guy swarming to the ball, running to the ball, getting the ball off of players, thudding the runner, all these different things, that you want to see out of a defense. They did it. And of course, knowing Dylan, last year he was more so of a quiet guy. This year, you see the fire and the aggression and the passion, of course, knowing that he had to miss, majority of the season and things. So you see, he's taking advantage, but not taken for granted the time he missed and this season. So it was, those guys are lightning fast, physical, all the different things that you want to see out of a defense.
Now, before we get to the two, freshmen that kind of did some things defensively, Josh, Christian Harris. Alabama's had some great weak side linebackers to come through this program. The most popular one, of course, Reuben Foster, who was a heat-seeking missile. But Christian Harris had some moments over the weekend. I literally dropped my water on the ground. I spilled my Captain Crunch on the floor. And I was like, sweet Jesus, did Nick Saban clone Reuben again? So just talk about the way Christian Harris played, just flying around the field out there.
Well, of course, he's got a year under his belt, last year being a freshman year. But, this year, you just see the incredible improvement from last season to this season. Once again, flying around, playing aggressively. Just doing all of the different things that you want out of a linebacker. He blew my mind with the way that he played. And it wasn't that I was surprised. It was just a beautiful thing to watch him play along with his Baton Rouge native Dylan Moses.
So how much more comfortable does that make a guy like Christian Harris from, last year, first time playing linebacker, you have to make all the calls, and now your brother is back, your buddy's back, you can kind of calm down and just get back to the way you want to play, more relaxed, just flying around the ball. How much more comfortable did you see Christian knowing that he's got Dylan back with him?
Well, of course. Like I said, he had a year under his belt. Then you've got a guy who is as good as he is, being Dylan Moses. It just helps. Team together, everyone achieves more. So when you got a guy like Dylan coming back, you put a lot of other guys that are on the back end and even on the front end. You have to play more comfortable. You have no choice. You've got a great guy with you. Great players make everyone around them better players. So that's what I saw, as a fan watching on the television set.
Absolutely. Folks, if you're just tuning into the show right now, we got my good man, former Alabama wide receiver Josh Pugh on the line right now. Josh played for the Crimson Tide at wide receiver from 2015 to 2016. He was a student assistant from 2017 to 2019, a two-time national champion with this program. And Josh, so in the secondary here, Alabama secondary, there were some good things there from guys like Daniel Wright. Josh Joe played well. There were a couple of freshmen that showed out a bit as well. But what would you like to see in terms of more communication? I know Alabama had a couple of coverage busts there on the back end that allowed, 2 touchdowns late. But with communication, what do you want to see more from on that back end?
Well, I think the thing with them, of course, there weren't very many mess-ups, if any, but the slight mess-ups that they had, like you said, it just comes down to communicating, but also being there before. I know you said Daniel Wright. I love Daniel Wright. And
that's my boy.
Been there for some years, has the experience, of course. But, of course, the game experience is a lot of times when things change. You watch film all on people, but people are going to always try to do something different to knock you off of maybe your game plan. So by communicating even more, that will help the entirety of the defense, not just the secondary, not just the front seven, if you get what I mean.
Absolutely. And folks, he is Josh Pugh, former Alabama wide receiver, graciously joining us live on the show. Played from 2015 to 2016, student assistant 2017 through 2019, a two-time national champion who is right now the running backs coach at Pinson Valley High School. Josh, so thankful that you had time to come on here to spend with me, my man. Be safe, take care, have a great high school season, and catch you soon, brother.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
Absolutely. I mean, that was fun. Getting a chance to catch up there with my good friend there, Josh Pugh. Had a lot of insight, had a lot of intel on the Crimson Tide, a former national champion, two-time national champion for the Crimson Tide. We take another break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, it's back on you, baby. Back on you, Tide Nation. We get back to the phone lines to take your calls, your tweets, your texts, your thoughts, your questions on Bama football after this.
T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back in from the break, folks, on the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Got the man, the myth, the maestro in the production studio, the legend, John Ivory, doing his thing. And it was awesome in the last segment getting a chance to catch up with my good friend, my good buddy, Josh Pugh, former Alabama wide receiver. But before we get to the phone lines right now, got some more super chats to shout out. Somebody put some water on Jimmy Clay. He on fire. That's about real fire. Jimmy Clay dropping that $20 Viva Super Chats and comes back with an extra $5 Viva Super Chats. Jay Lee, you better watch out, man. Jimmy Clay coming for you. Jimmy Clay and Kevin Compton are on your tail there. Jay Lee, but appreciate the love there coming from Jimmy Clay via the Super Chats. But 205-448-1358, the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And we take a call right now. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Yes, my name is Charles. I'm from Texas.
Charles from Texas. What's going on, man?
I really like the performance from the offense Saturday. I know Bryce Young and them, they're new, so they're going to learn their way, like you said. I don't see why everybody's tripping on that. And the defense looked a lot better with Dylan Moses out there, of course.
Absolutely. I mean, to have Dylan back's a big deal. And one thing that I don't think a lot of people saw in the game, Pete Golding blitzed 9 times. I don't think people saw that. Pete Golding brought pressure on 9 different situations, which is night and day better than last year and a breath of fresh air because of the injuries Alabama had a season ago. So having Dylan Moses back, it gave Pete Golding confidence to say, you know what? Let me send some blitzes. Let me send some stunts, some different twists and turns to really kind of frustrate Missouri a little bit. Offense played well, but I don't think people really called the blitzing that Pete Golding brought.
Yeah, that's true. You take care, brother.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate the call.
All right. Well,
outstanding call right there. We take another call here on the show. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
What's going on, Steven? How you doing, man?
Man, I cannot complain here, man. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm a happy camper on Monday tonight. I got nothing to say wrong. I do. I like the way the defense played. I like the way Mac played. For all the naysayers out there, it's just proof that you got to trust the process, man.
Absolutely, and like I said, there's some things that can be cleaned up, and Nick Saban and his staff will get those things cleaned up. But if I'm an Alabama fan and I watch that game from start to finish, and when I go back and watch the replay of it, there is so much good to take from that matchup.
That's right. Christian Harris, man, that dude's a beast. It looked like he gained 150 pounds over the offseason.
I'm telling you, the smarter version of Reuben Foster, period. The smarter,
Period.
faster Reuben.
With him out there, I wouldn't have anything to complain about.
I mean, Christian played well, and the reason why is to have Dylan Moses back with him. And Coach Saban talked about it. You know, last year, Christian had to make the calls. He was not used to doing that. He never played linebacker before prior to last year. So this year, a year under his belt, he's got his buddy back with him. You can just tell Christian feels so relaxed and so comfortable.
Right, man. I like the way Dylan came out. He was nice and poised back there, man. You could tell he was excited to be back, and that's the defense I like to see. You know, Mechie got some reps.
Like
Jalen
that,
Waddle, man,
love
he
that.
put on a show. So I'm anxious to see how the rest of the season goes. I just want to say something for all the people out there that are hating on the dynasty. Everybody knows, man, LSU went out there and skunked it.
Appreciate the call, man. You keep listening to us.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Gotta enjoy everybody lighting this up here on a Monday. We got another call rolling on in here. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen M. Road Tide, brother. How you doing, sir?
Doing fantastic, Spencer. How you feeling?
Just wonderful, sir. This is a great weekend. Now, granted, I kind of fell asleep in the second half, but the first half I was very impressed. I think our defense is coming back. I did have a couple problems. We still don't have them shut down corners yet in our secondary. What do you say about that?
They're developing, and I feel like now Josh Jobe had a good game. He had a sneaky good game, and he did not get called for pass interference. He did not get called for defensive holding. He managed his side of the field, so I was very pleased with Josh Jobe. But I feel like with better wide receivers, with better wide receivers, I feel like their game will take the step forward. I mean, you got Texas A&M this week. They got a couple of guys that are playmakers, so I mean, Missouri had some receivers, but they didn't have those game-breaking, challenging guys that you got to keep your eye on. So as we continue throughout the year, Spencer, I think we're going to see that secondary grow even more because the competition is going to get better.
I hope so. The other thing is with Dylan Moses, I was tickled to death that he wasn't holding back on his injury. He listened to Nick Saban, and he actually cut loose and was sprinting and running towards the quarterback. I was impressed by that.
I was happy with Dylan. I was happy with Christian Harris. I was happy with LeBron Ray. I mean, he shook off that injury. LeBron Ray had a sack in there, played well on the defensive line, had a couple of freshman starters out there. Will Anderson's going to be a stud. Will Anderson is going to be a stud. He had a good game out there. And even Malachi Moore in the secondary, a lot of people are not talking about him, but Malachi made some plays out there.
You are totally correct there, sir, and both of them are going to be monsters for us. But I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Is there anything that you've been hearing or seeing that can tell us why Paul Tyson ain't even seeing the field?
That's a good question, and that's something that I will be digging on because I was waiting on him. I saw Bryce Young take the field. I was waiting on Paul. I was trying to see when would Saban put the young man out there. So that will be a question, Spencer, I will do some digging on.
I appreciate it. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. Bryce does need to see the field, at least a quarter. He does need to get out there because it's the process. The system has to slow down for him to get the reads. Everything's faster up here. But Paul Tyson's been paying his dues. He knows the system, so I'm curious of why he's not seeing the field. That's all.
Absolutely. Well, Spencer, for you, my man, I will get some digging done on that, and we will get the information on that. But as always, my man, we appreciate you helping us out here.
Thank you, sir, and you have a great rest of the week, sir.
Absolutely. Appreciate Spencer Revley giving us that call there. We continue on the phone line. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, sir. I was compounding on. I wanted to ask you about that Paul Tyson, but I see the last guest asked about it. But I wanted to know I seen a depth chart, and I seen Trey Sanders as a outside linebacker, as a backup or something like that. I wanted to see if you knew anything about it, or was that just a typo?
That was definitely a typo. No way Saban's putting Trey Sanders as outside linebacker. I think you're referring to Drew Sanders.
That's what it was supposed to be. Okay, Drew Sanders. We were sitting here talking about it, and we were arguing about it. And another thing is, I'm real high on this team. And I don't think no team will come within 10 points of beating us this year. Is that a dumb bet to make, or what do you think?
You know what? After
on the SEC,
absolutely. Just looking around the SEC and seeing how other teams had to struggle a little bit. If Bama plays like Bama's capable of playing, this team wins the national championship. Like I know there are some things to still be cleaned up, to still get cleaned up on, and Coach Saban will do that. But just seeing how the SEC looked in the first week and seeing how Bama looked, especially in the first half, if they could take that first half performance against Missouri and play that way the entire year, this is a national championship.
And that's exactly what I believe. And I've made that bet with 4 people, so I hope it comes through. Just want to tell you, I love your show. You made me a fan of cherry fried pie, if you don't remember that. I want to say
absolutely. Yes, the Jack's cherry fried pie.
I love it. And I want to say, keep doing what you're doing. The info you bring out is priceless.
Appreciate the compliment, my man. Appreciate the call. You keep listening to us.
I will.
Absolutely. You guys hitting this up hard on a Monday. We go to another call here in the queue. You are live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Your fat pussy, shut the fuck up.
Live on the show, caller. Well, that caller got away from this there, but we appreciate everybody calling us in. 205-448-1358. But I'm going to call in 205-448-1358. Folks, I'm serious. Please get a bucket of water for Jimmy Clay. Another $20 coming in from Jimmy Clay via the super chats there. Appreciate him showing the love here on TDA. But another quick topic here. So the time has been announced for the Alabama-Ole Miss game. The SEC front office in Birmingham has announced a time. So Alabama will take on the Rebels on Saturday, October 10th, 5 p.m. Central Time, Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi. ESPN will have the call on the matchup. So once again, Alabama-Ole Miss, October 10th, Saturday, October 10th, 5 p.m. Central Time, Vaught Hemingway Stadium, Oxford, Mississippi. ESPN will have the call on that game. Looks like I will be getting in my car that week to travel to Oxford to take on Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels. But we take another break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Still getting your chest warm. Still popping the clutch on the Cadillac. When we get back from the break, we will dive into... when we get back on the break, we got the game ball segment. I'm giving out my MVPs. Don't touch that dial. We're coming back after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Man, have we had an awesome show today or what? We are back in from the break here on the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. Appreciate every last one of you guys for your thoughts in the chat line, for blowing up the phone line, for really being interactive with yours truly today. And definitely appreciate the energy, the enthusiasm, the phone calls, the support here on the show here, courtesy of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But before we go to the final topic of conversation, got to remind you of this. You are a diehard Alabama fan. Of course you are. You're a diehard fan. You love the team. You support the team. You eat it. You sleep it. You drink it. You wear it. You go grocery shopping with it. You're in church with it. You're probably two-stepping in the club with it. This is what you do. You got to check out tdaware.com. That is tdaware.com, where you can purchase all types of apparel. We got the We Want Football shirts, the Let Them Play shirts, the hoodies, the I Love Hearing Touchdown Alabama shirts. We got so much apparel here for you, and we want you to check this out. Go to tdaware.com. Do your shopping right here. You'd be very glad you did, showing that support for Coach Saban, the Alabama football program, the student athletes, and us here at TDA. But we get into now final topic of conversation. It's time to hand out some game balls. It's time to recognize my MVPs, my most valuable players from week one of the college football season for the Crimson Tide off its win over Missouri. So as my man John Ivory's got the music pumping right now, we're going to start this off. The number one game ball goes to Mac Jones. Mac 10, Mac Drip, Mac Slice. Mac Jones did his thizzle, did his thing week one against Missouri. Came out there effective, efficient, firing on all cylinders, completed 18 of 24 passes. That's 75% completion rating, 249 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, looked in sync from the word go. Both of his touchdown passes came on third down, so talk about the efficiency there. I mean, the young man played with absolute control, absolute poise. Even in facing a blitz, stood in that pocket, made big-time plays. Really proud of Mac Jones. Even his 6 incompletions, the ball was placed on the money. There was some good coverage there by Missouri's defensive backs. And Brian Robinson, baby, couldn't get his name in the paper. Dropped the touchdown pass, but Mac Jones, all in all, played extremely well. That's the first game ball. Second game ball, come on down, Jalen, thy name is Waddle. Forget Air Jordan. We got Air Waddle in the house. Air Waddle in the building. Jalen Waddle had NFL scouts on notice all game long. 8 catches, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaged 16.8 yards a catch. Talk about jumping up like a pogo stick to catch the 46-yard pass from Mac Jones, plucking it out of the air between 2 defensive backs. I mean, you can't catch him, you can't stop him, you can't see him. The little John Cena thing. Jalen Waddle, a big-time show out there on the field. And once again, as good as Devontae Smith is, he's special, he's big-time. As good as some of these other wide receivers are in college football, Jalen Waddle showed NFL scouts over the weekend. You want to sit there and second-guess me as a receiver? Let me show you something then. Let me pop you into my hood. This young man, big speed, put some route concepts together, made big-time plays. This guy's looking for a first-round top 15 draft stock. Second game ball there going to Jalen Waddle. Third game ball, third MVP according to yours truly. Come on down, Najee Harris. Come on down, Mr. California man. He had a big-time day, and all of the hard work, all of the summer workouts, all of the flipping tires, all of the core training, everything that Brad Lester and Derek Blaylock put him through, it paid off. You talk about the speed right there, the power right there, over 100 yards from scrimmage, 106 yards from scrimmage, 98 yards rushing on 17 carries, had 3 touchdowns. After having a struggle of a time to get out of the box in last year's season opener against Duke, Najee, the grown man Harris, came out of that box swinging. against Mizzou had a solid performance. He is the third game ball. The number 4 game ball, the number 4 MVP. How about the second coming of Reuben Foster, that being one? Christian Harris, he was a one-man wrecking show out there. I know Dylan Moses was out there, and Dylan played well. There were some other guys that played well, but Christian Harris had his hair on fire, had the ground scorched from the word go, 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack. The first 2 big defensive plays of the football game came from Christian Harris. He was money in the bag. Like that song, just throw it in the bag. He was money in the bag. Christian Harris had a big-time show-stopping performance. Looking forward to seeing how he builds off that. And the final game ball here, y'all. This was tough for me. My man Daniel Wright had 11 tackles. Loved the way he played, but he doesn't get it. My man Josh Jobe had 7 tackles, played well. He doesn't get it. LeBron Ray had a sack in the game, but he doesn't get it. My final game ball, these 2 brothers have to share it. How about the freshmen, Will Anderson and Malachi Moore? Both of these 2 will share the final game ball as MVPs from me. Both of these 2 were outstanding their first time out there on the field. Will Anderson, the kid's a stud. This guy's got Tim Williams potential written all over him, 3 tackles in the game, but he was consistently in the backfield. He was consistently causing havoc, constantly bringing pressure. He had a play in the game where I think Missouri's trying to run the option, and the length of Will Anderson was too much for Sean Robinson, Missouri's quarterback. He tosses a lateral in the backfield. It results in being a fumble. Patrick Surtain recovered the miscue. Will Anderson's going to be a star here for the Crimson Tide. And then Malachi Moore, he's not always talked about. He came in kind of underrated, overlooked, but that young man played ball as well. 3 tackles, had a tackle for loss, looked confident in that star role in nickel, looked like he was in perfect phase out there. He had one play where that young man came down here with bad intentions and had a huge tackle for loss on the running back there, Larry Roundtree. So big job there by both freshmen, Will Anderson and Malachi Moore. But those are just the game balls, the MVPs, according to yours truly. Mac Jones at quarterback, big show from him. Jalen Waddle, Air Waddle, picking him up, putting him down. He went off. Najee Harris, all of that offseason training paid off for him. He had a strong performance. Christian, thy name is Harris, run you over. Christian Harris, kind of big show, and the 5th and final game ball goes to the tandem of Will Anderson and Malachi Moore. Both freshmen were outstanding there on the field. But as always, Alabama fans, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your Crimson Tide. It's very simple and easy to do this. You can access the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download it from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you've got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here. iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, Overcast.fm, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio. We have you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Remember, Alabama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. Link will be found in the description. One more super chat time for the road. Jimmy Clay again, throwing in that $10 for the super chats. Jimmy Clay ain't playing, y'all. Y'all better watch Jimmy. Jimmy Clay ain't playing, y'all. This ain't Jimmy Crack Corn. This is Jimmy Clay, and he really about that business around here. But be sure to get your individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. That link will be found in the description. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands, children. Fresh week, get that schoolwork done, but still do those things legitimately now to not be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, spend in my own words.